The weather forecast now, it'll be a breezy night across northern parts of the UK with spells of rain across western Scotland. It'll be dry in England and Wales, but with some fog patches. And that's the BBC News at 6:03.
Dave McNeil, thank you very much indeed. Sean Rafferty with you till 6:30. Well, between now and then, whether it's breezy, dry or foggy, why the weather seems to suffuse so much of English music. 22 minutes past 6 o'clock is the time. Well, that's pretty stormy in a way. So I wonder if maybe the Sea-Wash Baltic has an effect on the way people write music. British composers apparently are more obsessed with the weather than anyone else, twice as likely to write music with climate themes than any other nation. Well, that's research from Oxford and Reading. Dr. Paul Williams, the University of Reading's Department of Meteorology, has been doing it sort of in his spare time, but he's on the line to put us right now. Paul, good evening to you.
Good evening, Sean.
Well, why are we more guilty then? Is it just because of our peculiar weather patterns?
I think that's got to have a lot to do with it. And as you say, in this study that we're publishing tomorrow, we grouped together a database of every piece of orchestral classical music we could find from the Baroque to the present day. We came up with 35. And as you said in your introduction, we found many more representations of weather in pieces by British composers than by composers of other nationalities.
Why?
Well, the sceptical explanation is that this could be sampling bias because of, both of the authors of this paper are British, so perhaps we know more British works than we should.
Well, Dr. Applin no doubt would agree with you. I'm sure you're there, but I suppose we do have an incredible variety of weather. But I gather a lot of composers are very affected by weather, aren't they? Wagner couldn't write in bad weather, apparently.
I think composers do seem to be pretty sensitive types. Chopin, for example, famously visited Mallorca in, I think, 1838, basically to escape the cold and find some winter warmth. And yes, Wagner referred to what he called bad weather unemployment. It seems he just couldn't compose if the sun wasn't shining. And he wrote, I've got the quotation in front of me, "This is awful weather," he says. "My work has been put aside for 2 days and the brain is stubbornly declining its services." So poor Wagner having some problems there.
Well, of course, we'll all think of weather in various pieces of music. What particularly do you think? I mean, we're going to have one bit in a moment, in fact, coming up very shortly, and it's Benjamin Britten and it's storm, but there are more than one kind of storm, isn't there?
Well, I can get into the science bit here, but I mean, meteorologists identify, you're right, 2 different kinds of storms. There's the frontal storm, which is basically strong winds and rain. We get a lot of these in the UK, and Benjamin Britten seems to have liked depicting them in his music. The other kind is the convective storm, or the thunderstorm. This is very common in the Central European landmass, and indeed we find that composers like Beethoven, in his 6th symphony, the 4th movement, depicts one of these convective thunderstorms.
Well, it's all sorted, but you're publishing your findings tomorrow, are you?
That's right.
We'll be able to check up on you.
It's being published in Weather, the journal Weather, tomorrow, with my co-author Karen Applin from Oxford.
Well, listen, thank you very much indeed for that. It's something to ponder on. I suppose we should be grateful that the weather is so appalling every now and again that it does actually bring us some decent music. So we have to really have Britain, don't we? And it's a storm from the 4 sea interludes, and it is absolutely full and frontal. Storm from 4C Interludes by Benjamin Britten, the London Symphony Orchestra conducted by Andre Previn. Well, thank goodness for our weather that inspires music like that. We started a Twitter feed. Use hashtag weather music if you've got a favourite piece of music affected by the weather or vice versa.